Laurel, thank you very much for your expertise on this issue. Gabe, I do not consider you an expert on this issue. As a matter of fact, I consider you a major problem. And here's why. My ex-husband showed up to vote in person in the 2020 general election and was told he already voted. And they said, Mr. Greene, you have voted absentee ballot. He said, no, I haven't. I never requested one. I never filled one out. I never sent it in. And he had to sign a form surrendering a ballot he never voted on and never sent in order to vote in person. Now, that complaint got largely ignored. No one listened. We reported it in the news. We reported it to the Secretary of State's office, reported it constantly, and no one gave a about what happened to him. But guess what? It wasn't just him. There were many, many people that reported the same issue, not just in Floyd County, but all over the state. And I want to tell you something else. For you to say there were no dead voters in Georgia, there was thousands of dead voters in Georgia.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and hell broke loose in a House Election Integrity Caucus roundtable recently when Marge the Trainwreck Greene went off script. Gabe Sterling, a Georgia election official, had been invited to take part in the proceedings of the Election Integrity Caucus. Sterling became a popular figure after the 2020 presidential election and the Georgia U.S. Senate runoffs that same year. He had publicly stated that various election conspiracy theories claiming fraud in Georgia were false. This put Sterling in Marge's crosshairs as she wasted no time in making the proceedings about her and her twisted version of the truth.
As you have constantly shilled for this election, and I'm going to tell you, there was blatant outright fraud in the 2020 election. Complete and total fraud, and you know it. You absolutely do know it. And I'm going to follow up with one more thing. Trump won Georgia. I know you don't like for me to say that, but I am convinced that he did. I'm born and raised in Georgia, lived there all my life, campaigned all over the state in the 2020 election. And to come in here for the Election Integrity Caucus and for you to be on the panel, it's actually insulting to election integrity.
It has all gone too far. All of it. Joe DeGenova today asked for Chris Krebs, a patriot who ran CISA, to be shot. This is elections. This is the backbone of democracy, and all of you who have not said a damn word are complicit in this. It's too much. Yes, fight for every legal vote. Go through your due process. We encourage you, use your First Amendment. That's fine. Death threats, physical threats, intimidation. It's too much.
Marge began talking down to Sterling, who happens to serve as Chief Operating Officer for the Georgia Secretary of State.
I think you did a horrific job for the state of Georgia. And I can't believe that our tax dollars have to pay you to run our election system. You were formerly a Georgia state employee, and then you got to be a contractor during the election. Well, I think that was that. I don't know why that happened and no one else got picked, but somehow we ended up with you.
Her supporting argument for attacking the Georgia official was a story based on a nonsensical tale from none other than her ex-husband himself. Marge regurgitated a memory of her ex going to vote in 2020 and allegedly being turned away because a dead person had already voted in his place. While Marge was conjuring visions of weekend Bernies, she tried to say that it wasn't just her husband that had his vote taken by a dead person. She painted a picture that dead people were voting all over the state of Georgia.
But there were massive problems. In the recount in Floyd County, they recovered over, I think it was over 2,000 votes for Trump in the hand recount. Floyd County is a tiny little county, teeny tiny little county. To recover over 2,000 votes for Trump in a hand recount is outrageous. And then we have the whole catastrophe of suitcases coming out from under the table, videos of them re-scanning stacks of ballots. All of this went on, but the Secretary of State's office said, oh, flawless election in the state of Georgia in 2020. And it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. And I hate to tell you, but there are many Georgians, and I'm one of them, that have no faith in our election system in Georgia. And I'm still upset about it. So the fact that I get to come in here for Election Integrity Caucus, thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you, Claudia, but I don't find any election integrity here.
Sterling interjected that there were only 4 abnormalities with deceased voters in that election. Marge angrily shot back that there were thousands of dead people who voted. If given the opportunity, she may have tried to say that she had proof that the deceased were bussed from local cemeteries to the polling locations in her district. Marge was angry with Sterling because he told the truth about Trump's loss and said on the steps of the Georgia Capitol that the claims of the stolen election had gone too far. Speaking to Trump that day, Sterling rightfully told the orange buffoon that you need to stop inspiring people to commit potential acts of violence. Somebody is going to get hurt. Somebody is going to get shot. Somebody is going to be killed, and that's not right. Sterling snapped back at Greene on Twitter later in the day, writing, "I had a discussion with the Election Integrity Caucus. A big part of that is talking truthfully about the challenges in elections and identifying real issues." It's always good to see Marge make a fool of herself because she never has to. She just does it every time she opens her mouth, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.